down the field. Happy tossing dimes, cup $1 million deal. Fantasy football, better know it's real. Tune into the podcast, tell us how you feel. We be going live, best believe we talk.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back for another episode of the Fantasy Football from Up North podcast. This is going to be your Week 5 waiver wire episode. Joining me today is Riley, of course. What's up, buddy?
What's going on? Sorry, my voice sounds terrible. I'm a little sick right now, so.
You got COVID?
Possibly.
Uh-oh. Stay wherever you are and don't come anywhere near any of us in this house. But anyways, how'd your fantasy week go?
I'm pretty good. 4 for 6, I think. So better than last week. I went 0 for 6, I think. So yeah, big improvement.
I snuck out a bunch of wins barely, and I got my ass handed to me in a lot of games as well. So probably 50-50, I would say, on the weekend. So that's not bad. You, of all people, too, may not even have a quarterback to play against me next week when our big matchup comes around, hey?
Hoping Danny Dimes can play. Tua. If not, I'm in trouble, I think. But we'll see.
Better pay all your money on whatever quarterback plays for the Giants. Tyrod Taylor might be back. I think it's going to be what's his name? I can't even remember now. I was just reading about it because I was looking at your team earlier and I was like, I'm like, this is sweet. I'm going to take him down with no quarterbacks on the squad. So, but without further ado, let's just jump into this thing. Some huge injuries came out of last week. Biggest one talk about is going to be Javonte Williams. Came out today, torn ACL and LCL, out for the season. And Jonathan Taylor expected to miss 2 to 4 weeks with a high ankle sprain. So let's just jump right in. Oh, and sorry, Cordell Patterson. Can't believe I forgot that one. He has surgery. He's going to be missing at least 4 games. He was put on IR today. So my number one wire pickup for the week is going to be Tyler Allgeier of the Falcons. He showed up this week. They both did, actually. Caleb Huntley and him. Both of these guys could be ads. I'm leaning more toward Allgeier. He looked a little bit better. Rushed 10 times for 84 yards. And Caleb Huntley was the same, kind of 10 for 56 and had the touchdown. But I would think that Allgeier was already getting some run already with Patterson in there. So I do think that they value him a little bit more. And especially with the fact that he's going to be missing or Patterson's going to be out for a few games. I think Allgeier's a great claim on the wire this week.
Yeah, I agree. I still have Allgeier ranked as my number one waiver wire pickup this week, just because I was a big fan of him coming out of college too. He's shown he has that 3-down ability if given the chance, and I think this is a chance, so there's no reason he shouldn't be everyone's number one this week.
Are you throwing a lot of money at him? I think you almost have to, hey? Because, Cordell Patterson, that was the guy that people drafted high, so you're going to be missing RB1. And, I think you're probably going to give at least 20 to 25% of your fab, whatever you got left on Allgeier, maybe even more. Depends how desperate you are. With the news about Javonte Williams, we thought it was going to be Mike Boone and Melvin Gordon. Well, lo and behold, they went and signed Latavius Murray off of the Saints practice squad today. Now, you looked at how Murray showed up last week, or on Sunday, 11 times, 57 yards and a touchdown. Looked good, looked very good. And I think that's why Denver went and scooped him off the practice squad. A little concerning for me with this Kamara news that he just kind of sat out. Like, we had no knowledge of him sitting yesterday, so you're one of the ones that got bit by that. I rushed out and grabbed Mark Ingram, and then he did nothing, and it was Latavius Murray. So I guess Ingram would be Kamara's backup, I guess. But if I got to put my money down on somebody that's going to lead this backfield, I think they're still going to give Gordon a shot, but Gordon can't hang on to the ball. So I do think that Murray is going to be one of those, sneaky stashes just to kind of see how things play out on this week.
Yeah. With I don't actually have him as my number 2 this week. I have another guy we'll talk about soon, but Latavius Murray, that tells me that Denver offense is really concerned about Melvin Gordon's fumbles.
Oh
So
yeah.
definitely pick up Lat Murray. He'll definitely be at least 60-40 in that offense if I was to guess.
And I think he could step in right off the bat this week because they like I said, they have Mike Boone, which was all right. He finished the game with 29 yards on 4 touches. But yeah, Melvin Gordon and the fumbling issues, I think it's nice to see Murray because we've always known Murray to be a good running back, and he just seems to be not cutting it on certain like when he goes to a different team, but when that does get on the field, he does produce well. So I do think that he could get a shot at leading this backfield.
Yeah. My number 2 guy this week, actually, surprisingly, because he's not trending anywhere, Michael Gallup. In Yahoo, he's only 42% owned right now, which is ridiculous. Dak possibly coming back this week. I think Michael Gallup's going to get a big target share when Dak Prescott does come back. And he's very talented, as we've seen. He'll be the clear number 2 in that offense. So definitely, I'd put a lot of money on Michael Gallup too.
Yeah, he didn't even look like he was coming off a knee injury yesterday. I know he only was targeted 3 times. Did score that touchdown though, so that was nice to see. But he looked good. He looked comfortable in the offense, and they got the Rams next week. I think is favorable offense. I mean, we just saw where we watched Debo get a good snag for a touchdown against them tonight here. So, but very favorable matchup next week against the Rams, and I think you could go get him, and I think you can pretty much put him in as a solid flex play.
Yeah, I agree.
All right.
Next guy here.
Next guy, I'm going to go back to the running back situation here. We got, Nyheim Hines and Deion Jackson for this Jonathan Taylor injury. But then I just read today, too, Philip Lindsay could get some run in this offense now. What are you doing with this backfield?
I'm not touching it, to be honest. I think, Nyheim Hines obviously rosterable, but I don't like it simply because I don't think Matt Ryan's a great quarterback. I don't think that offense has any flow right now. And I think without a guy like Jonathan Taylor, none of those guys are getting the volume they will be. And they're going to be down in a lot of games coming up. So I think they're just going to be passing the ball a ton. So I'd kind of avoid that backfield for now until we see something change.
And if they're going to be tossing a ton, I think that plays into Nyheim Hines. But just, kind of keep an eye on what you're going to do there. I was just bringing that up for the simple fact is just, people are wondering. I mean, that's Jonathan Taylor, probably top pick in fantasy drafts. I have him in a league, and I'm just happy that I can, I have enough depth that I could hopefully get by with the guys that I do have. But I would have to say if my next the guy that I wanted to actually bring up is Raheem Mostert. He is over the 50% ownership in Yahoo, but he's still available in quite a bit, at least 40%. So I'm looking at how this backfield played out. He dominated carries last week, 15-5 over Edmonds. Edmonds did score again, but Mostert looks good. He looks explosive. Rushed for another over 60 yards on his carries last week, and he's getting the same amount of catches and targets as Edmonds is right now. So, in my opinion, Mostert's on the field for 60, maybe even 70% of the plays. I meant to look that stat up today too, but actually, sorry, I just saw something come up. He played over 76% of the passing downs last week. So to me, that states that the Dolphins are liking what they see in him a little bit more than what they are in Chase.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's definitely worth a pickup, possibly even a flex play in the next couple of weeks. I'd kind of avoid him for next week just because Tua is out. We don't know what that offense is going to really look like with Teddy Bridgewater running the show. So for next week, I'd probably bench him, but I'd definitely pick him up if he's on your waiver wire. Next guy for me would probably be my boy, George Pickens, because as we all know, Kenny Pickett season. Finally, Pittsburgh came to their senses. They're throwing Pickett in there. He can sling the ball. Pittsburgh hasn't had a quarterback who can do that in a pretty long time here. So I think both Pickens and Claypool won't be available, but Pickens and Claypool, I think their stocks just went up with Kenny Pickett running the show now.
And I think if I'm not mistaken, I think Claypool only played like two snaps more than Pickens did. And if you look at Pickens' numbers, from the time with Trubisky, he was only getting, I believe it was like, I think he had like 4 targets with Trubisky. And all of a sudden Pickett comes in, and I think he had like I want to say it was like somewhere around like 20 to 25% of his targets when he did come in, which is crazy. So, I mean, he caught 6 passes for 102 yards against Jets. And we've seen this guy make highlight reel catches. And like you just mentioned, Pickett can move that ball. And I think he's going to be a beast this rest of the season here.
Agreed, yeah. Who's the next guy you want to talk about?
I'm still going to jump on the Josh Reynolds train for the Lions. He, St. Brown was out last week. Chark was surprised inactive as well. And I mean, caught 7 of his 8 targets, over 80 yards and a touchdown. Again, that's 3 weeks in a row now. Reynolds has come up and proven something, like he's consistent. That's what I want to see. If I'm looking at if I'm looking on the waiver wire and I need a guy that's going to produce on a week-to-week basis, well, he's done that 3 weeks in a row. So I think he's going to be, I think he is the wide receiver 2 in this offense, even if DJ Chark is healthy. And the Lions are just slinging the ball. Jared Goff is just a monster. He's I don't know. He's right now, he's like a top 6 quarterback right now. And yeah. I'm seriously, I'm trying to trade him right now because I have Josh Allen and I have him on my bench. So I'm trying to figure out a way, but I really don't want to because he's got such a nice schedule moving forward. But I do think that they're still going to be throwing the ball a ton, and Reynolds is going to be, Reynolds is going to get his for sure every week.
Yeah, the Lions defense might be the worst in the league, so they're going to need to be slinging the ball. And Jared Goff has proved that he can sustain more than one guy in this offense. Like Hawkinson had a big week last week.
Yeah.
Even with Amon-Ra coming back, I still think all 3 of those guys will still be involved in the pass game.
Yeah, I would agree. Who do you got next?
I actually got a quarterback here, Geno Smith.
Yeah.
He's been fantastic. He's like the quarterback 9 on the year so far, which is insane. And pretty similar thing to Detroit right now. Their defense isn't very good. And Geno's just slinging the ball. Like Tyler Lockett is getting 11 targets a game. I think Geno Smith is just going to continue to thrive. And yeah, by the end of the year, Seahawks might just give him a little contract by the end of the year, I think. So I think Geno Smith's definitely worth rostering, especially if you have like a guy like Tua on your team and he just went down. So I'd definitely roster Geno Smith.
Yeah, I agree. I had Tyler Lockett on a few leagues, and as soon as I heard that Geno Smith won the job, I was really, really hesitant to put him in there. And then, you know what? After week 1, I was like, yeah, let's go. And he can sustain it. I mean, you looked at DK Metcalf's game yesterday, outside of him getting carted off for taking a shit. Like, that was ridiculous. I thought the guy was hurt. I actually said on the recap show that he was hurt. But yeah, I did read a report that he did, because he did have to go to the bathroom. But I'm like, come on, that's just definitely not true. He's hurt. Yeah, no, legit had to go take a shit. Unbelievable. But anyways, good on him. But one guy I want to talk about real quick too is Corey Davis of the Jets. I know they got a lot of weapons on this offense, Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore, but he seems to have this rapport with Zach Wilson going back to last year. He might not be the youngest guy on the field, but he's, 5 catches on 7 targets, 74 yards yesterday, 1 touchdown. So every game that he's played with Wilson, he's averaged over almost 14 PPR points per game. So I think that's going to be probably the the floor for Corey Davis on an average week, and I just think he's probably the most consistent pass catchers on this team with Wilson.
I'm actually not too high on Corey Davis. Definitely is that if he's there and you need a guy kind of on your bench, I'd pick him up. Doesn't hurt to. I just think I think that Garrett Wilson's the guy there still.
Yeah.
Even with Zach Wilson and now throwing the ball, I think Garrett Wilson is just too talented not to be that top option in this offense. But PPR league, Corey Davis will still get his share. Just those throws down the slot. But I still think Garrett Wilson is a guy, and I don't think we haven't seen it from Zach Wilson to show that he can sustain production for multiple receivers yet.
That's true.
I think Garrett Wilson will be his number one target.
Yeah, I know. I do agree with that. He hasn't shown us that he can, like you said, he can have, multiple targets on a team. So, but consistency for me is key. So I'm gonna throw a little bit out there and see if I could get him. I do have him in quite a few of my leagues already, but let's touch over to the tight end position. I think I'm gonna touch. I don't know why I keep talking about him, but the Jets again. Conklin, I mean, we're talking about the tight end position because it's so weak as is, but Ty Conklin again now, he had 3 catches last week, 52 yards. He's not going to be, he's not the sexiest name, but he's a solid tight end, and that's available, right, in at least 58% of leagues. So favorable matchup against Miami in week 5, you can do worse than having Tyler Conklin on your team.
Yeah, I agree. Those were it for my guys pretty much. So did you have any other ones?
Just a couple guys just to touch on real quick here that we can't really sleep on. Another tight end would be a guy like Hayden Hurst. He's out there in a ton of leagues. And one guy I want to talk about, he is owned in over 50% of Yahoo leagues, but Brian Robinson is due back this week. He's going to be coming off the IR, I guess is what it would have been. But if he's available, go and get him because they love this kid, before he got shot. So Gibson is not the guy that we thought he was. I mean, he's been disappointing this year. His snap shares is already going downhill, and Robinson's not even on the field yet. He's losing touches to McKissick in this offense. So to me, if Robinson does get activated, I might wait a week just to see what kind of role he is going to get right off the bat. But I also don't think that they would throw him out there if he wasn't already ready to go. So that's just another guy you want to keep an eye on.
Yeah, he'd be a stash for me. I wouldn't be starting him in these next couple of weeks just because they're probably going to ease him into the offense a little bit. But definitely stash him on your bench if he's available.
All right, well, that's perfect. Well, that takes care of our list for the week, and we will be back with our show on Thursday and Friday this week. We're going to change things up a little bit, so just be ready for some changes coming with how we're going to run our preview show. We got a new segment coming along. So, again, thanks again for the support, everybody. Love you guys, and head over to our YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button, hit that little bell so you don't miss any episodes that we drop. Until next time, peace.